watching, and we're back with two new decks that I'd like to go over. Just made them. So our first one here is for the Bloomburrow. We are looking at my Rabbits deck, green and white. So we got Burke, Long Ear of the Law, Vigilance. When he enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each of the two target creatures. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it attacks, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. We got Herald of the Homestead, 3 of them. Season of the Burrow. I particularly like this one because I can return a permanent and I can create 2 rabbits or exile something. This is perfect for like end game kind of FU. This guy I actually really like. I also thoroughly enjoy the token artwork. He's super useful. We got Rabbit Response, obviously needed. Patchwork Banner. This is extremely helpful, especially early game. Hazard Root Herbalist. Kind of helps you out with the Death Touch. This is also great for the trample, especially when it's getting buffed by the Valley Quest Caller. Which, on top of that, every rabbit that comes in is going to allow me to scry, letting me kind of choose what's on the top of my deck. Top of that, we got sorcery, just procting more rabbit tokens. Harvesting Host, or Harvest Strike Host. I always misread that. Super helpful, especially when you're scrying, because you'll scry first, then you'll draw the card, obviously, since it's second time. Carrot Cake, great early game. And on top of the fact that every time it's sacrificed, it also makes a 1/1 rabbit and scries. We got Cooped Up, kind of just like a quick exile. I already went over Valley Quest Caller. Beauregard Mentors. These guys are great. You want to hold these, because later in the game, when you've got a bunch of 1/1 rabbit creature tokens, you throw this guy out. This is extremely helpful for those enchantments or artifacts or even planeswalkers that you can't really target with the Cooped Up. Valley Might Caller. Now, normally there's 4 of these in the deck. I just do not have enough of the rare tokens at the moment. I am also missing an enchantment, which I will go over in a second. Royal Treatment, also a great card. You can have 2 of them in there if you want. Commune with Nature, extremely important. Like I said, you can mess around with the instants and sorceries, but this is good to have 2 to 4 of. This is also not bad. Good for 1 mana. Now the enchantment I wanted to go over, I just don't have the stuff for it yet. Right here. You're gonna want like 3 or 4 of these in the deck. Caretaker's Talent. And obviously you can read the reason why. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn. You got 2 or 3 of those out in the battlefield, as well as scrying because of Valley Quest Caller. You know, you got a Valley Quest Caller out and 2 of those, and you pop ahead of the Homestead or hop to it. You know, you're scrying 3 times, you're drawing twice because you got 2 of them on the field, you know. So it's really good to have 3 or 4 of those in the deck. Then we got a blue-white deck. I was inspired by another video that I saw, but I did change some things up because I noticed it is slightly weak against fast-paced red decks. So I did change a couple things up, like Urza's rebuff. It's an extra counter, or you can tap up to 2 target creatures with it being an instant. It's perfect for those creatures with haste that just come out and smash you up really quick. This new set with the red-blue prowess has just been ridiculous with the mice. I thought the otters would be the best, but it's the mice. But anyways, so the core of this deck is going to be Castrol, right here. Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. You may put a bird card from your hand on or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter, which means basically if it were to go to the graveyard from the battlefield, you'd exile it instead. Or you could put a one counter on each bird, or you could draw a card. So, you know, we're going to use that. We got the Valley Quest Callers, 3 of them. You want 4, honestly. I just only have 3 at the moment. Same thing, rabbits, birds, bats, mice, get +1/+1, scry 1. We got these guys, which are kind of just like a flash creature that allows you to block, as well as giving something like Valley Quest Caller or Castrol or your Mockingbirds or Jackdaw Saviors hexproof. You got Dazzling Denial, great counter, especially early game if you have a bird out. There's no way they're going to be able to stop that. We got the Aven Interrupter, also great. Not only do you get to stop something they play, but then you get an additional blocker on their turn to kind of stop stuff. Now this is where stuff starts to get a little crazy. So you got the Jackdaw Savior. Whenever he dies, or a creature with flying dies, you get to return another creature card with less mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we're talking about these guys, these guys, these guys, these guys. Depending on if one of these 2 die, you know, these guys. But, so they're very important. You got over here Salvation Swan. I haven't really used it much. The deck that I saw had like 3 of them in there. But I mean, in reality, with the Mockingbirds, it this doesn't even really matter. But whenever this or another bird you control enters, you can exile 1 creature you control without flying, which is obviously you'd be targeting the Valley Quest Callers, since they're the only thing in the deck without flying. And then you can return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on the beginning of the next end step. It's not bad. Over here we got the Mockingbirds. These guys are going to make your game. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to want to take these guys and copy the Valley Quest Callers, and they're going to buff the crap out of everything else on the battlefield that's yours. Or you could even copy this guy, which, you know, if you need to do a copy on him so you can get 2 creatures back from your graveyard, have at it. Lava Spur Boots. I have this in the deck solely to protect an early game Valley Quest Caller or a Castrol Windcrested. It's just because it gives them the ward and the haste. Kind of helpful. The ward in general is just kind of helpful. Into the Flood Maw. Gift to tap fish. I rarely use the gift to tap fish. I usually use this on a creature. Return or yeah, on a creature, not a non-land permanent. Return target creature an opponent controls its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, instead you get to return a non-land permanent. Like I said, I usually choose creature. It's just easier. Harrier Strix. This is not a bad bird. I've been looking for a replacement though. That's like around the same cost. That is also a bird. This isn't bad, but you know when it enters tap target permanent, it's really not helpful unless they have flying. And then the draw card, discard a card, I also rarely use. But it is helpful in certain situations, obviously. Miner's Guidewing, Flying Vigilance. When it dies, target creature you control explores. Love this card. And then Elspeth's Smite. It deals 3 damage to target attacker blocking creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. It's really great combination with the flash birds. Um, so yeah, this is the bird deck that I got. But those are the two decks that I wanted to go over today. Both of them are from the Bloomburrow set. Both of those are standard. And if you like them, I hope you give them a good try.